It is Friday, May 7th, 2021. And you know what that means. Resident Evil! Happy Resident Evil Village Day to all of you Capcom, Resident Evil, or depending on what part of the world you're in, Biohazard fans. This is going to be the first time in over 2 decades that I don't pick up a mainline numbered entry in this franchise on launch day. Here's why. Now, first things first, let's kick this off with the usual, here's what we got to do before the video starts. If you like what you see here today, click that like button, hit subscribe, and then click that little notification and select all notifications. So I want to be very careful as I talk about this because I 100% support Capcom, support what they're doing, and I hope that this game is everything that the fans expected. If Capcom made a very good, solid game here, I hope that they see a significant return on their investment. And let's be honest here, it's Resident Evil. There is no way they are not selling millions of copies instantly. But from my perspective, let me just kind of put it out this way. I'm in a very weird place with this one.
You're really weird.
Actually, weird's probably not the right word. I'm in a very odd place. Pick whatever adjective you want. This is a new place for me because typically when any Resident Evil title drops that's not called Umbrella Corps, I am over the moon, ready to get that game on launch day. It has been since PlayStation 1 when I was playing my older brother's copy of the original Resident Evil. You know which one I'm talking about.
Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, Resident Evil.
Yeah, that one. What's odd about this is I just find myself in a place where I'm just not excited. Listen, I'm going to get into some very light spoiler stuff that's based off of only the preview footage that they've shown at E3 and a little bit after that. I have not looked at any of the supposed leaks. I have not played any of the demos, but if you are trying to go into this game completely and totally blind, just be aware of that because I don't want to ruin that for people who are really big fans and want to go in that way. But as I've watched the reveal of this game, as I've kind of listened to Capcom talk about it, and as I've watched it kind of develop into, you know, this preview material that they've been showing, I have
Today, Junior?
I have progressively gotten less and less excited about it. And it took me a while to kind of put my finger on why. One, the setting and the overall feel of it. One of the things that originally enraptured me and captured my imagination about the Resident Evil franchise was that little tie back to our own world. In the first couple of games, you had that original T virus where a pharmaceutical company, Umbrella, finds a way to revive dead cells and show it to the public as, well, here's a beauty product. And yet then they begin to do R&D. They begin to try to weaponize it. And that just kind of really speaks volumes to me. You can kind of believe the scientific link of how these people became zombies, the files in the games and the lore and the world building in the original Resident Evil titles always had that scientific link. Even if it didn't really follow, if you're like a scientist out there, like, well, you know, Ribose doesn't act this way. All right, I'm just saying that from a general everyday person's viewpoint, I really got into that link back to our own world, and it bugged me out. Like, it legitimately bugged me out. I've always loved it, despite the occasional ridiculous moments in the series. So here we have a new mainline Resident Evil series, and it has werewolves. and vampires turning into swarms of bats and reforming. You kind of mix that with the setting, which looks like it was pulled directly out of Transylvania.
Welcome to Hotel Transylvania.
I'm sorry, that doesn't feel Resident Evil to me. It's not the first time in the series that, BOWs have been, let's say, stretched when it comes to that reality or that string I talked about earlier. But this is just, for me, it's a step too far. The supernatural feel. I don't have any complaints at all with Capcom tackling this setting with these types of classic creatures and monsters, but I just kind of feel like it should have been its own IP, or at least it feels that way. My biggest concern is that they're kind of shoehorning in a Resident Evil title, and it's going to feel, I don't know if half-hearted is the right word, tacked on. So that brings me to kind of my last point here. As much as I love this franchise, I love the medium of video games more than any one series or any one game or any one developer. I'm currently playing through a number of titles, some of them lesser known, that I would like to finish, and I would like to show the developers who don't have the same type of resources, as much money and time into their creations, and yet are able to make these stellar games. For me, it's become more important here recently to shelf games and actually finish them and show the developers of those other titles that I enjoy their game by completing it. If you care about supporting developers and publishers, that's a whole nother topic. I've come to the realization in my older age that that is more important, and that with the very few rare exceptions of certain titles, to finish those games and to continue playing them and not derail those efforts. I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that I want this game to fail, or that I think this game is going to be terrible, or I think it's awful that they went this direction. In fact, I think that it's going to be a very good game, if not a great game. And I wish them all the success in the world. And I wish all of you out there who are out there getting ready to play Resident Evil 8 or play it at some point, love it. I hope it's everything that you expected. It's just become more important for me to continue to make progress in these games. Even if you don't play a game right away, even if you don't play it for 5 years, it'll still be as fresh and as awesome as when it came out. And there's nothing wrong with waiting a little bit to pick up a title, even if it's a new numbered entry in the Resident Evil franchise. But for all of you guys and gals out there who are playing Resident Evil 8 today and losing your collective minds about it, love it. Enjoy it. Tell Capcom if you love it and enjoy it. And play through, have a blast, and I'll see you guys in the next video as well.